Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the progressed ascendant. Now, in progression, the ascendant moves approximately 1 degree per year. Now, these are not actual literal scientific movements, but these are merely calculations that astrologers used in terms of ascertaining where the movement of, you could say, the ascendant and just progressions in general. The method is for as far as the ascendant goes, it's going to move through, as far as progression, it's going to move approximately 1 degree per year. So in my case, I have 22 degrees Taurus rising. So when I hit about 8 years old, my progressed ascendant was at about 0 degrees Gemini, roughly. So during that time, when the ascendant progresses into a different sign, now it's not going to eradicate your characteristics or traits of your rising or ascendant sign, but you'll have a little nuance, a little flavoring of that sign that it's progressed into, and it can give some direction, some characteristics, some trends and tendencies that are associated with that sign during the period that that sign is in that progressed sign. So anyway, the first thing, what I'm going to talk about, we're going to go into the different rising as far as progressed ascendants. I'm going to go through Aries and go all the way through Pisces and talk about those signs. So anyway, people, firstly, if your progressed ascendant goes into Aries, and say if you're a Pisces, if your rising sign was Pisces and your progressed ascendant goes to Aries, well, this could be a period where you show a little less ambivalence and a little bit more aggression, more assertiveness, being more forthright, being more outspoken than your typical as far as being Pisces rising. So that's really, during that time, the progressed ascendant in Aries will show this a little bit more of this fortitude and this more of this courage and forthrightness, and will be a little bit less passive during that time for Pisces, and it might be the person may be a little bit more combative during this period as well, but have a lot of enterprise and initiative at the same time. Now, let's go now the next sign, the progressed ascendant in Taurus. Now, if someone's progressed ascendant enters Taurus, now this could be a period where the person may show a little bit more persevering qualities, more patience, persistence, and have a little bit more of an interest in things that are of values, things of an economical nature. So that's something to look at when the ascendant progresses into the sign of Taurus. And now the next sign, when the ascendant, progressed ascendant, is in Gemini, well, progressed ascendant in Gemini, let's say the person has Taurus rising and the ascendant by progression goes into the zodiac sign Gemini. Well, this person, of course, will still keep their Taurus rising outer demeanor persona, but what would happen is the person might be a little bit more loquacious and talkative, may diversify a little more, may show a little bit more versatility and things, be more outgoing with people, be willing to mingle a little bit more than usual, may be more apt to, as far as learning and scholastic activity, might show a little more emphasis in that. Now the next sign, when the progressed ascendant enters Cancer, this is interesting because my ascendant progressed into Cancer, I believe it was around 2005, and really what happened with me was I became very peripatetic, to say the least. I was moving very frequently. I've moved like about 16 different times since it entered that 10 years ago roughly. So, and could be more of an emphasis on home in family. Now, it doesn't, just because an ascendant progresses into a certain sign doesn't mean it's always going to have positive attributes associated with it. It can be positive and negative. Now, there was definitely a strong emphasis on my home life, and I certainly felt some impact during this time. I believe also Saturn had traversed my fourth house of home, and Saturn is connected with restriction and limitation. So that happened, I believe, in the early part of that period. I was experiencing homelessness around 2006. So, but really, that it does emphasize Cancer. The progressed ascendant moving into the zodiac sign Cancer can emphasize home and family life. A person can show a little bit more emotion during that period. And my progressed ascendant is still in Cancer, and right now it's in very close proximity to my natal sun sign position in Cancer, which can actually perhaps show that my inner self and my outer self might be merging a little bit more and amalgamating. Don't get me wrong, I still keep my Taurus ascendant persona, don't get me wrong on this, but it's going to show that my inner self is going to come out maybe a little bit more strongly during this period. Now, let's say somebody has the progressed ascendant in Leo. Well, during this period, the person may experience be a little bit more extroverted, gregarious, sociable, be willing, might be interested in entertaining more during this period, should be a little bit more flamboyant than otherwise indicated, may have more of an interest in the theater, drama, the arts during the time the progressed ascendant is in Leo. Now, let's say that the ascendant is progressed into Virgo. Well, during this period, this person may show a little bit more, be more humble, more reticent during this period, more analytical, but there might be a little bit more of a proclivity to be a little bit more judgmental, a little bit more critical during this time. And really, there was a person that I've spoken about before that figured prominently in my life some years ago, and her rising sign was at 29 degrees Cancer, but you figure when she hit her early 30s, in that period, she was going to have that progressed ascendant be in Virgo. Well, that's when I think she probably really strongly became a little bit more particular about things and was more painstaking revolving things that involve cleaning and really being punctilious with details, making sure all the I's were dotted, that kind of thing. Well, anyway, let's go to Libra now. When the ascendant, somebody has their progressed ascendant in Libra, well, during this time, this person might show a lot of tact, diplomacy, but be a little bit more ambivalent and indecisive during this period. There might be more of an emphasis on being passive and peaceful and being non-confrontational, but there might be things that are connected with this person wanting to fight in terms of as far as things that are connected with justice and wanting things fair and equitable during this period. So, now, if somebody's progressed ascendant is in Scorpio, well, during this period, this person it's possible they may show some interest in Scorpio, like things such as the occult, supernatural, astrology, things connected with perhaps extensive research, investigation. Person may be a little bit more probing, a little bit more mysterious, a little more intense during this period than otherwise indicated in their natal chart. So those are some things to look at when somebody say they have their progressed ascendant in Scorpio. Now, when talk about, let's say the progressed ascendant is in Sagittarius. Well, during this period, the person may show strong, more expansiveness during this period, a little bit more buoyancy, be more philosophical. There might be a stronger emphasis on higher education, religion, perhaps traveling, going on expeditions, on journeys, the outdoors, may figure more prominently for this person during this period. The person may be a little bit more effervescent. They may enjoy outdoor activities like sports, and during this period be a little bit more about going outside and doing things outdoors a little bit more in this time frame. Now, let's say the progressed ascendant is in Capricorn. Well, during this period, the person may be a little bit more serious, especially, let's say, if the ascendant is Sagittarius and the progressed ascendant goes into Capricorn. Well, this person may be a little bit, show that sternness, be a little bit more disciplined, be a little bit more prudent, cautious, business-minded during this period, emphasizing things as far as being traditional, being very orthodox in manner, and there might be a strong emphasis on pragmatism and practicality during this period as well. And this could be a period where this person will still, of course, maintain whatever their rising sign characteristics indicate, but will add a little bit more sternness to the personality during this time that the progressed ascendant would reside in Capricorn. Now, let's say the progressed ascendant is in Aquarius. Well, this could be somebody that may be a little bit more unorthodox during this period, might seem a little bit more non-conforming, might have a little more of the rebel in him or her during this time frame. It could be somebody that might show interest in innovations in modern technology, might show some ingenuity during this period. It could be somebody that perhaps shows an interest in computers, electronics, even esoteric subjects such as astrology. It could be someone that decides to take up a course in computers or electronics during this time that their progressed ascendant is in Aquarius. Now, last but not least, now somebody has their progressed ascendant in Pisces. Well, this person might show a little bit more compassion, a little bit more idealism during this period, but maybe a little bit more ambivalent, a little bit more confused, and they may not be always decisive about where they're going and in what direction, but it can give that ability to really see maybe their whole picture and deal. Pisces is more about concepts as opposed to Virgo being, the analytical, detail-oriented person. And maybe they can kind of see some picture in their life scheme that comes a little bit more into focus and more into view during the time that their progressed ascendant resides in the sign of Pisces. And it could be something where the emotions might be a little bit stronger too during the time that the person's progressed ascendant has entered Pisces. It could give a little more of an interest in Pisces-like things, such as things associated with water, such as swimming, oceanography. Maybe the person becomes interested in being a lifeguard during this period. Could give some interest in things connected with pharmaceutical work, with chemicals, things connected, special effects, illusion during this time, fantasy novels. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the progressed ascendant, and stay tuned next time where I'll be continuing my series on signs on the third house cusp. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.